Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 5 of Hair Social's Takeover Talks. I am Heffy Wheeler. You can find me at my own Instagram. It's at HeffyX. And I'm here today with the amazing and fabulous Justin. Hey,
Hi. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Really good. Yes. Excited to be speaking to another human because
I know.
lockdown, right? I was like, so it's so nice to be chatting with you today. I'm really excited
I
to talk.
know. We always have so much fun as well. So
We do. So, hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be here today with Justin, and we are going to have a really exciting talk today about all things learning and apprentices. So, Justin, do you want to just talk to us a little bit about your journey so far in hairdressing? Then when you've done that, I can talk about mine, and then we can go through some of the little topics we're going to be discussing today.
Of course. So, hi everyone. And for those who don't know me, my name's Justin Mackland. I am an apprentice stylist slash colorist at Ashoka Hair and Beauty in Aberdeen, Scotland. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here today. I started my hairdressing journey a little bit later than everyone else. I was 25 when I came into the hair industry. And yeah, my career just keeps going from strength to strength. So I'm super excited to chat about what I've been
Absolutely
doing. So yeah, people always get confused when they see how much I'm doing, and then they go on my Instagram and realize I'm still actually an apprentice. But it's all good. It's all character building.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just love that because I feel like sometimes, being an apprentice, you can almost feel like that is, almost like a negative thing, but it's not at all. And I love how you've shown that, like, it doesn't matter where you are in your career. And, I truly believe that it doesn't matter whether you've been hairdressing for 2 years or for 40 years, you can still be incredible and you can still do amazing things. So I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about the things that you've been up to. So what we're going to talk about first is college versus apprenticeships. So for me personally, I did 2 years at college, which is very different to you, right, Justin? Because you are doing so how long have you been doing your apprenticeship for?
So I've been at Ashoka 4 years now. It'll be coming up for 5. I should have finished my apprenticeship last year, but I'm not going to say the dreaded C word. So yeah, so that's a bit of a downer. But do you know what? Slow and steady wins the race, and I'm ready to smash the
Absolutely.
rest of my level 3 training this year.
Yeah, and I think that the thing that's really cool about that is, you've had that time to really learn and perfect your skill. And I feel like for me, I basically learned very little at college. I feel like it was kind of when I was doing my assessments, it would very much be the educator would do the hair for me, and I
Yeah.
would do the qualification. And I can even remember there was times where people would actually pass off like whole assessments, like one after the on like a mannequin head and stuff. So I think that apprenticeships are really cool because they can take a little bit longer, but you are set up to start in the workplace. And I know for me, it was probably not till 2, maybe 3 years after finishing college and working in a salon till I felt like I was at that point.
Yeah. Well, I was actually originally supposed to go down the college route as well. Because of my age, not a lot of salons would take me on. So my first point of call was to apply for college, and I did my induction and met the group that I was going to be in a class with. But thankfully, I got my job at Ashoka, and they've looked after me ever since for their sins.
So were you more set that you wanted to do an apprenticeship rather than college? And if so, why?
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but I'm very hands-on. Like that's how I learn, and I I I'm not very good in like a classroom environment. Like I get really distracted easily, and I think with an apprenticeship, especially where I am at Ashoka, my mentors are Philip Bell and Catherine Longmuir, and they're in the Hall of Fame at the British Hairdressing Awards, and they just keep pushing me in a nice way. And I need that. I need someone to help drive my passion and enthusiasm. And I'll be honest, it's made me fall in love with the hair industry in a completely different way than I expected to. And it's opened up so many different doors that I didn't even know existed in hairdressing. You think hairdressing is just you work in a salon and do your clients and go home, but no, I was opened up to a completely different world that I just fell in love with.
Oh, that's amazing. So for you, it's really been like such a bonus to be able to have the opportunity to do an apprenticeship, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, like for me personally, I think that, you know, I've had staff since, obviously I didn't have the best experience with college, or I felt like was the best training, but luckily I went to work at a very big brand salon after, and I got that training. And I have found that my staff that I've had since have had a, you know, been at a better standard. But I think one thing that you can really miss out on is the actual, like, the vibe of a salon and the actual working environment. Like, it's so different to a classroom
Yeah,
environment. And I
yeah.
think that, you know, I always remember, like, I went for my first salon job, and this was before I started college. I was like 14, and I was wearing my mom's shirt, trying to look all smart, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I went into the salon and basically just stood there all day. And then was
Yeah,
like, that you watch people, so I just stood there watching people all day because, like, I had no idea what to do. And I think that, again, you know, I ended up doing like voluntary work after I left the salon. The college, because I just didn't have the skills to be able to know how a salon ran, right?
yeah,
So, like, even though, and again, like, you know, the staff that I've had since, their training has been much better, and, you know, the training has been good, but there's almost this kind of like adjustment period. I think it's quite difficult to finish college and go straight in to running a column, because the pace of working in the salon environment is so much quicker, right? So I guess it's really cool that you are learning with that. And for me personally now, you know, I take on staff that have been to college because I do see the value in that education as well. But I also really like to take on my own apprentices, and I like to train them myself as well. And I feel like, you know, from a business owner point of view, obviously you've got to have the time and you've got to put the effort into training somebody. But I kind of know that I can put someone through the MVQ and have them where I need them to be,
yeah,
ready when they finish. Whereas
yeah.
sometimes I have like more of an adjustment period of having to kind of learn how to manage and how to run a column. So I guess it's almost like a bit of it's like an extra bonus, isn't it, that you get to kind of learn that element of hairdressing as well, right?
For sure. And I think when you're growing a member of staff to your standards, then it fits more with your brand, and it's more authentic, you know, and everyone's on the same page. At Aishoka, they've always trained in house, and I mean, I think they've had the salon 35 years now, I think. So they've been like the central training hub for all hairdressers in Aberdeen. There's not one hairdresser I don't meet that, you know, hasn't trained at Aishoka over the years, which is so incredible. But they were all trained to such an incredible standard as well, and it just really reflects on the brand of Aishoka. So I'm like delighted to be a part of the legacy.
Yeah. So so obviously with the MVQ training, you know, there's a lot of very classic, you know, some very dated things that we need to do that we don't necessarily use in the salon.
Yeah, I remember doing things like French rolls and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done one since, but you know, it's all part of the training program,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
absolutely. You know, because I've been delivering some education, you know, to trainees, and I've been making sure that all fits in with the MVQ qualification. And it's really hectic to see so many like almost like very classic techniques that we don't necessarily use, like roller sets on long hair and pin curls and stuff. And although, like, I think it is really good to know these kind of like core foundations and these core skills, but how do you find, you know, with your training and having things that are a little bit more modern, is that something that is part of your qualification as well? Because obviously it's not part of the MVQ, but are they things that you learn on your apprenticeship and learn on the job also?
So things like you were saying, the roller set and the pin curls and stuff like that, I actually learned that in my training, and then I brought a modern twist to it to the salon. Basically, I had so many girls in Aberdeen wanting me to like blow dry and style their hair, and I kind of brought, you know, like what you see down in Liverpool and stuff with the girls with their big bouncy blow dries and their pin curls and stuff, and I incorporated that into starting to build my clientele, which was really interesting, to be honest. Another dated training method that I just missed out on was perming. So basically, perming became an optional unit for, you could either go down the perming route, or you could go down extensions, hair extensions. So I am glad to say I am going to do hair extensions.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. Do you know what? I've started already, and I'm just absolutely in love with it. So,
Really cool.
and I'm actually way to go through my training with a big American brand, hair extensions brand, and I'm going to be educator for the whole of Scotland eventually.
Wow. And this is what I mean about, like, I find it so like inspiring, like how you are just killing it with doing your apprenticeship, right? So kind of what do you think has led you to the success that you've been having? And if you can tell us some of the other things that you have kind of done and that you've been working on.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I think, and I think you'll probably agree as well, success is addictive. And once you start doing well in something and building that confidence, it took me a long time to build that confidence, to really just get myself out there. But it wasn't until I auditioned for we in Naishoka, we're a Schwarzkopf professional salon, and they have a creative team called the SKP Collective, which I don't know if you can see there. And basically, it's an elite group of hairdressers from all over the UK who share and demonstrate their love for the brand through the eyes of social media. Basically, it's like they're wanting to, instead of giving their products to influencers and bloggers and things like that, they want to give it to their hairdressers who know how to use them, and yeah, just really share their love for the brand. So I auditioned for it, and I mean, there was hundreds of applicants, and I personally just didn't have the confidence to think, oh, I've got this in the bag. And yeah, they took a while to get back to me. They left me hanging for a wee while. And yeah, then I got the phone call to say that I got onto the team. Now, this was incredible because everyone else on the team, they'd all been hairdressing for at least 5+ years. I'd only been in the industry 2 years, and I just really didn't know what I was letting myself in for. But it was kind of one of those moments where you just have to do it. You just have to, get yourself together and just go for it. So I flew down to London and did the press day. I'd never spoken in front of a camera in my life. I felt like Kim Kardashian or something, when they do the video interviews. I was like, what is going on? But, and they gave us video training and stuff like that.
Cool.
So, and I think going to events with them, styling hair at fashion events with people like Rick Roberts, Daniel Granger and things like that, it just really builds your confidence, and you're learning new techniques all the time. So yeah, I'm going to be forever grateful to Schwarzkopf for creating the person that you see before you now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm guessing that that's the thing for you that really helped kind of like give you that confidence, and kind of, as we were saying, that growth is addictive. I know that and quite an unhealthy thing to think, but I feel like if I'm not moving forward, I'm going backwards, even though that's not the case. But I'm constantly like hungry to kind of keep growing, expanding my knowledge and find new opportunities. So I guess that was that first kind of like, maybe you were testing the water a little bit and see how it went, and it's just kind of giving you that, this is what I want, this is the direction that I want to go in.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer in, you attract these opportunities well. I'm very into like the law of attraction and stuff like that, and what you manifest will come to you. So yeah, good things come to all those who work hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So what for you, like with these sort of things, and like with your career, like obviously you are a whiz at social media, and how do you feel like you have kind of tied that in with your education to get you where you are currently in your career?
So I actually started my Instagram page purely to be like a blog for me to see my progress. I think I would recommend that to anyone, because I think it's really good to reflect on your growth. I mean, even if you go back on the very first few posts on my Instagram, it's like my first ever roller set, or my first ever blow dry, or my first ever set of highlights. And yeah, sometimes it could be cringe looking back on it, but I love going back and reflecting on how far I've come, in terms of techniques that I've been learning. So yeah, I think it's a great idea to start up that Instagram page, and yeah, it might not be to instantly get clients or anything, but just so you can see it. It doesn't need to be a public profile. I just think you can make it private, and then when you're ready to share it with the world, do it. Because I always thought that nobody would ever have wanted to watch what I was doing in training, but I'd seen a couple of other people online doing it, and I just thought, I'm going to take this in a different route, and that's why I'm so big on sharing my love for training in the hair industry now, and really want to help and inspire other apprentice stylists.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that people love to see growth. And I have people that message me and they're like, I'm still training, do you think it's worth me doing my socials? It's like, absolutely, because I think no matter where you're at, we love to see that growth, whether it's, someone's own personal like style, or whether it's someone's confidence, or if it's the work that they're doing. Like, it's so good to be able to, see somebody grow. And I definitely feel like, there's been people that I've watched, excel in their career, and you always feel like you're part of that as well, being able to watch that.
Yeah, and I think platforms like Hair Socials as well are amazing for connecting with other hairdressers, because let's be honest, is there another supportive person that you've ever met in your life than someone that you've met online? They will have your back through everything.
Yeah,
And the hairdressing industry is just so supportive. So yeah, I always recommend post your stuff in Hair Socials, or how to cut it even, and it will reward you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that like hairdressing has definitely changed over, for me, the last 10 years. I think even more so in lockdown. So, I mean, I know that 10 years ago, and it sounds like a very long time ago, you wouldn't necessarily share your formulas on your social medias, and you wouldn't necessarily say what brand. And now, like, that's just totally gone, and everyone just wants to support each other a little bit more. And I think that kind of leads to another thing I wanted to speak to you about, with like reaching out to other people, and reaching out to people that inspire you, reaching out to people that you want to learn from. As I know that's something that both you and I have done, and obviously we're at different stages in our career, but that's still something that we do. We reach out to people that we want to learn from, and offer to assist, or do some just go to the salon and watch what they're doing, or assist on a photo shoot and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So how do you find that sort of area? How have you utilized that, and what kind of things have you done?
So to begin with, I was always, because I think there is that fear, especially when you're so early in your career, that people are going to be like, who's this guy? But I started following everyone that I looked up to in the industry, and it kind of just started with like me commenting on their stuff, and saying love this, and just a bit of support. And then one day I messaged, there's a hairdresser from Edinburgh called Austin Thompson. He was in the original SKP collective, actually, and Edinburgh's not too far from Aberdeen. And I messaged him and asked if I could go down. And he does a lot of stuff on YouTube and things like that. And, this was before, when I wanted to get into the digital side of things. So I thought he'd be a really good influence and someone that would be incredible to watch. And I wasn't wrong. And people like Susie McGill from Rainbow Room as well. I took a wee trip down to Glasgow, just myself, for a couple of days. It was just at the start of last year, actually. And I messaged Susie and asked if I could go and just shadow her for a day in the salon. And the way she cuts hair and the way she colors hair, she's just so calm. Like, sometimes hair salon environments can be so hectic, and
she just really, sometimes, aren't we? Especially on a Saturday.
Yeah, and Susie just really put me at ease. And she's a beautiful human. So big love for her.
Amazing. So for me, I've also utilized, reaching out to people. So for me, I think, again, it makes me feel like it's really crazy how I feel like we're kind of that last generation that's going to kind of remember what it was like without, like a lot of social media. So when I was at college and I was sort of 16, 17, I didn't really have an Instagram account. I didn't really have access to, obviously we've got people at our fingertips now. We've got a community at our fingertips, but at this point there wasn't really any of that. So I remember I was like, I want to work in a salon, and I can remember getting the yellow pages out, and I can remember like ringing up every single hair salon, every single salon, saying, oh, can I come and work for you for free? Can I come and work for you for free? On every single salon. And the one that picked me was a lady who was like literally just her on her own in this like tiny little salon. Like, it was so amazing. And also, like, it doesn't have to be necessarily like someone that has like a big profile, or somebody that like you watch online that you really aspire to be like. You can even just go into your local community and into your town, and like just go and hit up like a local salon and say, you know what, like, can I come and help you out on a Saturday? And I think this is where it kind of leads to, as a salon owner, for me, I find that somebody actually reaching out and saying, I would really, really love to come, I love what you do, like, I really want to come and like learn from you, or really want to come and help you out. Like, that is kind of like the first step into getting, into the sort of salon environment, right? Because I think if someone has got that passion and that motivation to donate their time to learn from you, and give you their time, So you can span that together and they can grow. That really shows some dedication and some passion. For me personally, as I'm saying, it doesn't have to be like a really big brand or a big company or even like an influential stylist that you are going and getting some work experience from. It can be as simple as just like your local salon. And I feel like, the experience that I had volunteering at my local salon gave me so many skills to be able to go. And then from that, I went and ended up bagging a job in one of the biggest hairdressing brand names in the world, which was really amazing. And if it wasn't for me picking up the yellow pages and ringing up this woman who just had this little shop and going and, just volunteering, shampooing.
Sorry, I'm still laughing at the yellow pages.
You know what? Like, I honestly feel like a proper like grandma saying it. Like, I remember back in the day, like we didn't have Google.
In my day,
we had the yellow pages. Does anyone else here, like, surely, like, let us know in the comments if you ever had to do that as well, because I'm sure that it wasn't just me.
I know. Heffy, if it's okay, I was wanting to set the audience a little task, actually. We were talking about who we look up to and assisting. If there's anyone watching today that would love to reach out to their hairstyle, one of their hair heroes, if you could just pop their name in the box down below, and who knows, they might see it and they might reach out to you.
Yes, this is a sign. This is your sign to go and hang out with your hair heroes and go and learn from them. So yeah, I love that. So, yeah, put them in the comments. And it's like the perfect time to start reaching out, right?
Definitely.
So it's great to start building up then connections and then relationships with people, and start kind of building them things to maybe focus on as and when we can finally work.
Yeah, and I think I've networked more in lockdown than I ever have in my life, just by connecting with other hairstylists, just in general. It doesn't have to be someone that I want to work with, but just really getting that community spirit together.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just been really crazy because with the first lockdown, we all just kind of like stopped what we were doing and were panicking, and we were like, what do we do? What do we do without hair? Like, we don't know.
We do TikToks.
Yes. We don't know how to kind of like not be working. And I think it's really cool that like the whole industry seems to have just kind of looked at each other and like really pulled together and made some brilliant friends like me and you.
I know.
It's really crazy because we were saying like we've never met, but we're like BFFs, right? It's just crazy.
I know. It's just you just get a vibe for someone and you just know you can gel. That's how I knew today was going to be so much fun. So
yeah. Absolutely. So like Justin said, guys, pop your hair hero in the comment. And yes, that'll be really cool to see. So obviously we've been talking a lot about, apprenticeships. So let's talk a little bit more about college. So I know that you might not necessarily have as much to say about this because you've not gone to college.
Yeah,
do you visit college as part of your apprenticeship, or is it all work-based for you?
No, we are all in salon. I mean, there is some salons in Aberdeen who do like a day release from and they go to college, or the college students will do a day release into a salon. But Aishoka, we are born and bred, trained there.
I love the way that you're saying day release. Like you get a day release out of college. You get a day release out of the salon to go to college. Yeah, and I think there's definitely a lot of different ways to do it, isn't there? Because you can just go, like, for me personally, like I did full-time college, and I know that like half of the staff that I have got, they also did just college on their own. So I know that they did the whole like 3 years through the college as well. And I definitely think there's a lot of benefits from, like a college setting as well. I think that sometimes in a salon, I know like, as a salon owner and as an educator, it is a lot of work to, educate that apprentice. And when the salon is very, very busy, your apprentice may be so busy, doing junior work and things like that. So a college setting is a really good setting because it is just solely focusing on the qualification. And don't get me wrong, like you still will learn that in the salon, of course, but you have like a separate job role on top of that as well. And I think that, apprentices need to get a lot more credit because it is hard. It's really, really, really hard because you are a learner. But you're also a receptionist, and you're also a cleaner, and you're also a blow dryer.
You're everything.
It's this really, really big job role that you have got to kind of not only focus on your own education, your own learning, but also, look after a salon. Like I always say, like, the juniors and the apprentices, like, are so important. I always say that.
So important.
I don't believe that there's any sort of like levels of importance within a salon. Like my apprentices are just as important, if not more important, than my top stylists, because I could not run my salon without my apprentices. And
Absolutely.
it's a really key role, and it's a really difficult job. So I think that one thing that is really good about college is it's just focused on the study. It's just focused on getting that qualification, and working through them units that you need to do. And of course as well, colleges will get models in, so you are still doing the hairdressing as you would like on clients as well, which is something that I really enjoyed. I did really enjoy the kind of the college setting. And again, then you've said that you don't particularly work well in like a classroom setting, so like you're going to really well. But I did enjoy like a lot of the theory lessons and a lot of the way that things were done like in a college environment. I think that there's definitely like pros and cons to both, and you can definitely do either and still be like super successful. I think
of course. I mean, well, look at you.
depending on depending on kind of like where you want to go and what sort of things you want to do. And I know people that have done college and they've done so well at college, and the establishment has been so happy with how they've done, they've then been put onto their assessors straight away, and then they've then gone straight through college and then become an assessor, and then they've started teaching the students. And it's really cool to be able to have that sort of opportunity as well. And that's like
that is really cool. Because I didn't realize that you could do that. So I'd really actually like to go and spend a day at Aberdeen College just to really get a feel for it, just to see the difference of it. Because one day I hope to be an assessor myself for the salon. So I think it's really important for us to really give back to the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I think another thing that's really cool is like with the colleges, like a lot of salons will actually approach the colleges and be like, who's your best student? Like give them a job. So there is also like opportunities, like if you work really hard, to actually get a job, like from a salon approaching the college, actually looking for people as well. So I think that's definitely another really cool thing, especially how like some of the colleges are kind of integrated with certain like salons and certain brands and stuff, and they were like arrange work experience for you and stuff. That especially I know for me personally, when I was sort of 16, 17, I didn't really have the confidence to kind of put myself out there on a pedestal. So I found that these opportunities that the college would give like fitted perfectly for where I was at that point. Whereas obviously like a little bit later in life, when you are more confident and you can kind of like push yourself that little bit more, and that you do have the to do that, that's kind of that's a bit better, right?
It is a scary thing though, isn't it? I mean, I even remember, even though I was 25 years old, when I first stepped foot into salon, I was petrified. And I remember my first day of training actually, and I think my hand was just shaking like this the whole time. I just couldn't do it. And I think I cried a lot through my first year. Like not like I didn't cause a scene in the salon, but like I'd go home and be a bit like,
oh, don't worry, I cry all the time, and I'm not even an apprentice anymore. So absolutely. It just brings it back to like it is a really difficult job. And like I think that again, like as a salon owner, I think it's really important that we appreciate our apprentices, because you hear too many times about apprentices that get treated unfairly. And I think that it's super important that apprentices, juniors, Saturday girls are the absolute bones of our businesses, and it's so important that we look after them, and that we they're that new generation, and it's kind of our job to like nurture them and help them grow, right? So like for me, like from a salon owner point of view, and like from someone that feels very responsible to look after all my juniors, like I take that role really seriously. Like I feel like I'm the mom half the time, like, because I'm just like I want to be so nurturing, and I want to like help them so much in this journey, and I want to just give them like and as well, like what we put in will come back as well, like what we put in by being like by nurturing this future talent, we'll benefit from. So it like just makes total sense to help kind of people grow in their careers, obviously with their skills, but also like with their confidence and their abilities. And that doesn't come from like 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 making people cry or like upsetting people or anything like that, does it? Like, it doesn't come from doing that. So yeah, I think, like, that's another thing as a salon owner, and it kind of brings us back to the next thing I wanted to speak to you about, how we can help our apprentices. So, for me, I think from a salon owner's point of view, especially during lockdown, I think it's very, very, very difficult. We want to keep helping and encouraging our learners. We also want to keep them motivated and keep them excited, but all the qualifications have been on hold and we're stuck at home. So a few ideas that I've been doing with my staff is, still been doing educational classes. So I started doing these on Zoom with my juniors, and then I decided, well, there's a lot of juniors that are stuck at home. So I decided to start doing it through Instagram and making it like a public thing, and then adding like guests on it as well. So like that's kind of like a little education that I started doing for my juniors just to kind of watch. And now everyone's juniors can watch it. So like doing little things like that. Also, like I set them little tasks, like I'm getting them both like a mannequin head each, and going to send them some color, and I'm going to say, right, like you just create something, whatever it is, it's not going to be wrong, like just make something and show it me, or put a mood board together, and we're going to do a photo shoot, and we'll go back, let's think about this, let's think about that, and just kind of like getting a bit more of a spark in there, and a little bit more of like excitement. And another thing that I found, because the qualification is so theory based, right, there is so much theory compared to
so much theory.
Yeah, so it's been like, this is quite a good time to actually like, work on some of that theory with the juniors as well, because it means that when we go back to the MVQ setting, it's like you already know them, so that the assessor can come in and you can take them exams and pass them off, and it's kind of like time quite well spent, right? So what do you think, like, if you were to give some advice on, I've said obviously what I think you can do as a salon owner to help apprentices. What do you think an apprentice can do to help themselves?
I mean, at the moment, I've said it before and I'll say it again, there is so much free education online just now, just really knuckle down. Sometimes, I'm one of those that gets so easily distracted by my phone if I'm watching a film or something like that. Turn the phone off, get on the laptop and just do some research. There's people like yourself, Daryl, our friend Daryl's been doing lots of free training as well. And there's just so many incredible educators online at the moment. So just always like search for what you're looking for, whether that be balayage techniques, or if you're wanting to look for vivids, or even, precision cutting techniques. There's just so much available. So just knuckle down, and it's really inspiring to watch, actually. And I found, even if it is things like that I know already, for example, all my color theory, I've completed all my assessments for that. But I still like to go over and refresh. Like I was watching a live with you and Daryl the other day, and it was so nice to just go over it again in my head and just and kind of confirm what I already knew. Because it's that reassurance, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that I feel the same. Like when I was researching to deliver that course, deliver that class, I was like, oh yeah, I know that I do that, but I couldn't remember why. And I was like, I know that's that, but I forgot about that bit. And I think because we can use these things all day, every day, we can kind of like know that we do them, but it's really good just to kind of reflect and have another look at it. And sometimes I think when you're learning, as an apprentice or in a college setting, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of information that you don't particularly understand because you've not practically done it. So like when people explain to you color theory, but you don't really do color yet, you can't see this working, so you can't really make sense of it. It's like words, and you think, okay, like I can get the science of it, but until you can visually see it happening, until you can visually see a toner neutralizing a gold, until you can visually see these things working, it's really difficult to actually put them together. But I feel knowing how these things work and then looking back into it, it's like looking at it from a whole different angle through a whole different pair of eyes. And I think that is really, really, really cool. And like you never stop learning, right? I think that the day that you think you need to learn anymore, like you can keep going forever. And I just love how as I've said, like our industry is changing so much. Like
it changes so quickly as well.
Yeah. So like there's nothing that you've not. It's not as if we've seen it all before. Like everything is new. Like everybody is doing something new. And I think at one point it was very much like, this is the way we do things. And then you have a few hairdressers that say, well, I'm going to do it this way, and someone else, well, I'm going to do it this way. everyone's sort of finding their own way. Once you've learnt them rules and them foundations, you can start to break them and, create your own techniques or use a product a slightly different way to get a different result. And I think, that just shows that, we can always keep learning. We can always keep joining people's education. We can always keep watching people's classes. We can always keep going on people's courses. And, I just think like how exciting to have an opportunity to just spend like 4 months learning and growing. We're never going to have this. And like, even like you said, like networking as well, like, we're so busy that we don't really, we'll maybe scroll through Facebook at night or scroll through Instagram, but it's this opportunity where we're like sat at home and we can utilize that time to grow. And, I know that I learned so much and I came back to the salon and I know I was better. I know that my skills were better. I know that I'd learned some things and I was a better hairdresser for the things that I learned in that lockdown. I'm really happy to do the same again. And I think that, taking this awful situation that everybody's in and trying to flip it around and be like, how can I see this as an opportunity? How can I use this as an opportunity to grow? And I think that, obviously this is like advice for apprentices or juniors, but it's definitely something that, for me, who's been in the industry for like 15 years, it's definitely something that I've definitely took from this as well. And I feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like, it's really hard. It's really, really hard being stuck at home. But when you are doing something productive, it kind of takes the edge off it.
Yeah. So can I just say, actually, I'm gonna plug you a little bit. My motivation at the start of this year was I had no motivation, and I felt like I knew I should be doing something, but it wasn't actually till I'd done your social media course that really gave me like a buzz back for learning and for education again. So thank you very much.
Amazing. So glad. I'm going to be doing another one in March as well, because this one, my first one and my second one sold out, so I'm going to run another one in March. But yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. And obviously we're not here to really talk much about social media, but like we spend so much time scrolling through our phones anyway. Literally we do. So if we can use that time that we are already, like, I'm the worst for it. I don't have time to do anything, and then I look at my phone and it's like I've been on my phone for 7 hours today.
I know.
And I've been on my phone for 7 hours, and it's like, okay, maybe I have got time to do something. So it's kind of trying to get that time, trying to take that time that we are wasting and doing something productive with it that's going to help us grow and help us in our careers. So Justin, what advice would you give to a learner when it comes to actually physically looking for a job? Like any interview skills, any like ways to apply? Because I think things have definitely changed compared to walking in and giving a CV, right?
Yeah.
So,
the first thing I would say is, so I'm going to use Aberdeen as an example. There's so many different salons in Aberdeen, but they all have like a different vibe. So I think you need to feel comfortable in the salon you work at, So I would do your research first of all to the salons that are in your area, whether there's 1 or 2 or whether there's 15 to 20. I would look through them all and first of all see what ones appeal to you most. Then I wouldn't open the yellow pages, but I would probably drop them a DM or go on their website and maybe see how we can get in contact, or if there is any positions. I actually still have the first email I ever received from my showcase telling me they didn't have a job, and then a week later I got a phone call from them. So so I mean, they might initially say no, but who knows where the future will take you. Interview skills, I faked it till I made it. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're all real talk now.
I mean, I didn't know any hairdressing jargon or anything. I had no idea what my boss Malcolm was talking to me about, but I just nodded and smiled, and
like when we blow someone's hair and we can't hear them, and we're just like, yeah.
And do you know what I'm going to say as well, actually, which probably not a lot of people talk about, but hairdressing is very fashionable. So you need to like incorporate your fashion to your personality, because I think that'll shine through. I'm very good at like reading people and stuff. So, for example, when I look at your sense of fashion, Heffy, I can already see what you're all about, and I think that's so important in a hair salon for an employer to see. So yeah, I think that's it.
Following from that, Justin, like I think that there's a flip side to that as well. And, you know, like if you go somewhere and they try and change the way that you are and try and change your style, you don't have to do that. Like I worked, it'll blow your mind, right? I worked in a salon. I had to wear heels. Yeah. Me in heels. Yeah. I don't have any heels. I had to wear heels. We weren't allowed to wear jeans or leggings. We had to wear like dresses and, you know what I mean? And that just wasn't me. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, this is why sometimes, you know, we you know, make sure that it's somewhere. I think especially when you're a learner, you can feel like you need that salon more than that salon needs you.
Definitely.
It's the other way around. It's literally the other way around. Like we, you know, juniors can go, a good junior can go anywhere they want and get a job. You know what I mean? We need them good juniors. So like, you know, I think a bit of advice for like my former self would be like, if someone doesn't appreciate you, if someone's trying to change the way that you look, change the way you dress, telling you that you're not, you know, that what you're doing like isn't, you know, that you can't wear that or you can't have your own sort of style. I mean, obviously there's uniforms and different, but like,
of course.
I remember, like, I was told how to do my makeup. I was told like, do you know what I mean? Like I would be in trouble if my hair was vibrant. You know what I mean? So I think that obviously there's limitations and we've got to respect that the workplace.
Of course, yeah.
But I feel like if you feel like someone is overly like controlling, like, you know, I've even had employees before that have told me what I'm allowed to put on Instagram, like my personal accounts, like, you know what I mean? Like I was in a salon before and I wasn't allowed to update my social media on my lunch break if I was inside the salon. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that, you know, obviously we can, I think what I'm trying to say is like, you haven't got, like if someone's not very kind to you or if someone is making your life really difficult, you know. Yeah,
you don't need to put up with that.
You haven't got to put up with that. You don't have to put up with that. Like I said, you know, like it's really hard to get good apprentices at the minute. So, you know, we need you. You know, you haven't got to go to a salon and be treated poorly and treated unfairly. You know, you don't have to put up with that just because you're working for a big brand or because you think it's the only chance you're going to have. Because if you're willing to work hard, it's absolutely not the case, right? Absolutely not. Yeah. So, and you know, like you were saying, I think that, I mean, I remember walking past the salon before and I looked in and everyone's got tattoos and I'm like, I want to work there. I want to work there. You know what I mean?
That's the thing that you're, I mean, me personally, I'm drawn to people's energies and people's vibes and stuff like that. And yeah, the way you present yourself, just, you know, you are going to attract. I mean, I guess it's kind of like when you're looking for your ideal client, really. Yeah. You know, the way you brand yourself will attract someone who more than likely is very similar to yourself. So yeah, it's like the same kind of.
Absolutely, like, you know, you get back what you put out, right?
Yeah, 100%.
These are all things to think about, you know, when we're thinking about the kind of environment that we want to be working at. And I guess that, you know, there's no right or wrong, everybody's different. But, you know, when we are looking at a salon, I think for me, like when I did my voluntary work, I was very much like, I need to work anywhere. Like it was my first ever thing. I didn't really know what was out there. But when we're like looking at actually somewhere that we're going to stay for a long time and when it's a bit more than just work experience, it's important that we make sure that, like, you know, our values, our interests, what we want to achieve out of our career and what we aspire to do, we've got the right mentors. We've got the mentors that, you know, we are looking at, we're like, I want to be like them. I want to do what they're doing. That is who wants to teach me. So,
and can I just say as well, the mentors that I have in salon, I say this to everyone, they just absolutely changed my life. And I just feel so valued and so lucky to have them in my life. They're my biggest inspirations. So yeah, I think it really pays off to be a good mentor.
Yeah, and this is exactly what, you know, we need to take from being a learner. You know, you need to make sure that you are in that position where you're looking at these people around you and being like, you know, I feel like I'm part of a team. I feel valued and I feel like, you know, I'm getting something out of this. And it's something that I've spoke to before about, like, you know, if we do voluntary work, it's make sure you get something out of it too, right? You know, don't put all the effort into cleaning and shampooing all day and not getting anything back. Make sure that, you know, if you are donating, you're doing voluntary work or you're assisting, that you are benefiting from that. And of course with the apprentice as well, like, you know, apprenticeships as well, you want to get your qualification, but you need to make sure that it's benefiting you in your career as well, and that it's keeping you, you know, in a healthy mindset, and that you're in a positive environment that you can work and that you can grow in, right? That is it's super important. And I think, you know, going off obviously the advice that I would give someone that's a learner. So of course you've spoke a little bit about reaching out digitally, and that is definitely, like, I think long gone are the days of walking in with a CV like we used to, especially with COVID. Nobody wants to Yeah, so I think that when I think about the types of messages that I will get, so I will get a lot of messages, and sometimes I'll just say, do you have any jobs? And I'm busy. I've got 2 kids. I'm running a business. I'm a busy person. So that isn't really going to, like, if I'm really busy, I'm not going to then go through this whole conversation of, well, what do you want to do hairdressing? No, I don't. I just want a job. You know what I mean? So, like, I think that if you are wanting to reach out to a salon, think a little bit more about what you're going to say.
And how you word it, and just think of your unique selling points, and what's really driving you to want to work for this specific salon. You bum them up, like do your research on that salon, find out how many awards they've done. That's everything that I did for Ashoka, before my interview, and that's a lot of awards to try and remember.
And I think that, as the business owner, if you have somebody coming to you and being like, I want to be part of your team, I like that you do this, I like that your team does this, I like this and this and this and this, I'm going to give them a job. Even if I don't have a job available, I'm going to give them a job. Because,
you will make one.
I will make a job, because that sort of energy, someone that wants to be part of your team. It's not just I want to do any job. So I'll maybe do hairdressing. We want people that are passionate about the brands that we have created. So I think that rather than just dropping a message saying, have you got any jobs? It's like, hi, I'm I really, I would like to do an apprenticeship. I would like your salon because of this. And just kind of like really making sure that you explain things a little bit more than just a quick message. Like, it can almost be a bit like rude. Like, have you got a job? It's not even like hello. It's like, have you got a job? Like, what job do you want? Stylist.
That's so funny.
It could be like a bit abrupt, and of course I don't think people mean it to come across that way, but I think we just use social media so much now to reach out.
That's why I always send voice notes. I know you're a fan of the voice notes, but just so you can kind of get your voice across and how you're actually saying something.
Absolutely. So that's definitely like a piece of advice that I would give. And another real issue that I find is that if you're going to apply for something, make sure that you read make sure you read the whole thing. So when I put out like a job application, obviously because we're all digital nowadays, right? So I will literally create a job. I'll be like, put it on Facebook and be like, if you want to come work for me as an apprentice, send me an email and I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself, why you want to do hairdressing and why you want to work in my shop. And I had 30 people apply and one of them did it right. Literally one of them did it right. So but I had responses like, I want to work, how much do you pay? Or it's just 3 simple steps. So, make sure that we are reading these things through and we're thinking about what we're going to do. And, we're thinking, right, if it's something that you really want to work for and there's a job opening, really read it through, maybe write it up, maybe come back to it and have a read through again and make sure that you're really happy with what you are sending over and it's the correct information that is needed. Because unfortunately, it's like, for me, it's like the first test. I'm like, if you can't read how to apply for this job and read 3 things I need to hear, you're not the right person for the job. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
So I think sometimes we can just be so quick to just jump on something and not really read it properly.
So yes, take a moment, breathe, and just really think about what you're doing.
Absolutely. So is there anything else that you wanted to add, Justin? Because obviously we're getting to the end.
So do you know what I wanted to just touch on a little project? So you were talking about the training that you've been doing with your apprentices. My boss actually came to the Ashoka team just the end of last week, and it was a really interesting concept that he's come up with. He's always really scared in case that new hairdressers are really losing the heritage of where hairdressing came from. So he set us all a task to really do some research on at least 10 influential hairdressers from the 1960s up until now. And, we have to learn, what hairstyles they created and how they've influenced the world and stuff like that. So, anyone watching, I think that's a nice little task to go and do yourself. Yeah, and do you know what? I've learned so many already. Over the weekend I started, and it just really gets your brain going. And I think it's a great conversation starter for your future clients as well when you're discussing hairstyles with them.
And you know what? I think we're so when we think about people that are successful, there is the Instagram hairdresser. That is a real thing now, isn't there? We've got these people that you've probably been researching who have made it in a totally different way. Whereas now we've just got the Instagram hairdresser.
Yeah.
And it's really important to actually reflect back on that. And I think there's definitely some really important lessons to learn about, other ways that we can grow. I mean, obviously at the minute we're very limited, but there's some really good ideas to, how we can grow in other ways, not just on our social media, right? So
Definitely.
I think we're coming up to the end now, Justin, of our...
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
It's been so much fun, hasn't it? So of course, it's been really great to talk about. We spoke about college. We've also spoke about apprenticeships, which are both like really, really, really different, but are super important for totally different reasons. And I think that it's okay if you want to do one and not the other. Like we all learn totally differently, right? You haven't. I know people that have gone and done apprenticeships and it's not been for them, and then they've ended up at college and they've needed the college setting to be able to reach their full potential, to be able to go ahead and go into a salon environment, while other people like yourself go straight into the salon, absolutely nail it. So we talked about that. We talked about kind of like some ideas of how we can use our time in lockdown to kind of grow, and that's been really cool because it's not just for trainees, right? That's something that's super important. Think for whether you've been hairdressing 2 months or 20 years, it's definitely something that is really important to kind of keep using these free educational tools that are kind of like being thrown at us by everyone at the minute, because we're all just at home like, to do something. We're going to do live, do that. So I think that's been like a really cool and really important thing to remember when we're aimlessly scrolling through our I mean, I'm the worst, right? The other day I was literally up to like 1 a.m. I'm like this, looking through one eye, really tired. I'm just like,
that's me as well.
And another thing I did is I literally I downloaded The Sims 2 on my
God,
Mac.
amazing.
I also stayed playing The Sims 2 till like 2 a.m. the day after that as well. So yeah, like it's definitely like we've got all this time. It's really cool to be able to utilize that to be a positive. And I think another thing as well is if someone is an educator or is like a salon owner or like a manager or is someone that is a specialist, like maybe think about delivering some education, right?
Definitely
time to help people. I know that there's like Concept Hairdresser magazine, and they are asking for people to do demos and send in videos and stuff like that, and there's loads of little bits and bobs that you can get involved on that are going to help people. And then also the final thing that we've talked about is that advice on how to actually approach a salon or how to approach an individual if we do want to go and learn from them, or we are applying for a job. And the main thing we've taken from that is just don't send a one-word question. Don't just send like, give me a job, or have you got a job? Make sure we are really thinking about how we are approaching them and building a relationship, really, right? Which is it's what we want to do. We want to impress them with our knowledge of that business. So this has been fab. So Justin, do you just want to tell everyone where they can find you on Instagram again, so everyone can give you a follow?
So you can find me on Instagram at Justin@Aishoka, all one word. And feel free to pop into my DMs. I'm more than happy to help you with any advice or just some words of encouragement.
And I would also recommend that you go and check out Justin's reels, because he looks fabulous in a wig.
Thank you, darling.
That beautiful blonde wig. Yes, my Instagram is @HeffyX, and exactly the same. If we've got any future talent here that wants to ask me anything or have a bit of a chat about anything related to getting into the industry, feel free to drop it into my DMs. It's been so fun. I'm looking forward to reading everyone's comments, Justin, about their hair heroes.
I know, me too.
I know, it's been so much fun. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Hair Socials, for having us. It's been great fun, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.
See you later. Bye.